Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy MJ. Welcome to the Black Wine Guy Experience. My guest today is a food lover, actor, producer, and TV personality, widely known as the host of Man vs. Food, Casey Webb. Casey was 14 when he landed his first job as a dishwasher at a local pizzeria. And after 3 decades in the hospitality industry, Casey got his big break when he landed the host role on Man vs. Food. In addition to his hosting gig, Casey has been in dozens of commercials and has worked with such brands as Sam Adams, Twisted Tea, Purina, Mobil 1, Budweiser, the NFL, Applegate Farms, New Jersey Lottery, and Doritos. Casey recently flexed his comedy chops in Amy Schumer's new Hulu series, Life and Beth, and her revived Comedy Central sketch comedy show, say that fast 5 times. Inside Amy Schumer. Welcome, Casey.
Hey, MJ. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. Tell everybody,
having me.
I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
And tell everybody, Casey brought a really special, unique bottle of wine. Tell everybody what we're drinking this evening that you brought in.
So I was fortunate enough, I am fortunate enough to have a friend who...
You got friends?
I do have friends. Small ones, small furry ones. And I wish we could see this guy.
I know. This is the first time we've had a
live animal?
Somebody's, yeah.
Is your first time working with
child
live
in a studio. Yes.
Yeah, one would say that working with me is like working with a live animal, but I have a small dog here that's hanging out with us. So this is a 1974 Sterling Vineyard that a friend of mine acquired someone's estate.
Okay.
So he bought a large portfolio of wine, and with that he had a fundraiser. He owns a restaurant, and he wanted to raise some money, and for this particular fundraiser. And so I was literally spun the wheel for an X amount of money, and this is what I got. So when you would ask me to bring a bottle of wine, I was like, I got a bunch of different everyday drinking wines that I like. I could tell a short story about, but this seemed to have a lot more significance.
What do you drink on a daily basis?
For me, I've always really loved, because I find them pairing better with food, is old world wine, be it French, be it Italian, be it Spanish, be it even I have friends. Just working in the restaurant business my whole life, I do enjoy Greek wines and Portuguese wines. I feel like they're the most underrated wines on the planet.
Ah, for sure.
Because I think it's probably a language barrier, and it's just they're not currently shared in the marketplace.
Right.
Like they're not being hand sold. And working as a waiter for a long time, I'd hand sell a lot of different wines. Working in sales, I worked for Allied Beverage for some time here in New Jersey, and I hand sold wine. I find that those are the best bang for your buck. I know I'm drifting here a little bit, but
it's okay. It's all
Greek
good.
and Portuguese wines.
Exactly.
We're drinking
That's
wine.
what we
We're
do.
gonna
It's
drift.
a 74
1974.
Sterling.
So it's older than me, but it's younger than you.
It's younger than me.
Right.
Thank
but
you
it's
for
40.
outing me.
It's 48. It's 48-year-old bottle of wine.
Yeah, and I have a Duran. I use the Duran. I started bringing the Duran because of Kevin Israeli, the murder he committed on a bottle.
He came in and brought an old bottle.
He brought an old bottle.
The Duran is basically it's a mechanism to help you open up.
It's a combination of an Asso and a traditional corkscrew.
Yes.
So I don't know who the genius was. Yeah, we went. I mean, but like an Asso doesn't always get an old cork.
No, it'll rip through it.
Right,
it's almost like
right.
it's like it's like a snatch and grab.
Right. Exactly.
Is the Asso. So this would be the traditional, and then this is...
Yeah, so first you put in the traditional corkscrew,
right,
and then you put in the Asso.
And recommended if you have some old bottles.
The old bottles, my wife got it for me a birthday gift. It's $150, but if you're a collector, I think most collectors would have this because you collect wine, but I think if you're a wine lover, get it, because in case someone brings an old bottle. Because
it saves you the trouble of cleaning up the it would have been crime scene.
It would have been a crime scene here.
So this became, this is something that I've had for a few weeks, and I just thought when you had said bring in a bottle of wine, it was the most special bottle that I had. And we're going to talk about wine and drink wine on camera, and I was going to do your podcast. I figured this is the best thing I could represent as far as something that that's come down the pike for me. So hopefully it's good. I mean, it could be vinegar.
I'm excited. It's not vinegar.
It's not.
No, it's fig and tobacco, so that's gonna be fine.
So let me ask you this: so what my understanding of a wine like that, we opened it at like 15 minutes ago. We have to drink that right now, right?
If we had decanted it, I mean,
there's not a lot of oxygen going.
Not a whole lot getting in there, but if we had decanted that, we'd have to like.
Nah.
I know you brought a strainer, which we might need to use toward the end of the bottle, but like a lot of time in a restaurant, what they do, they would decant it
too fast. It's almost
and you know a bottle like that, we'd need 5 people and pour equal amounts and just go through it.
It's a go time.
Go time.
It's almost better in the bottle.
Yeah, I think this old it's going to be fine.
Yeah,
we'll see. You know, we'll see. But
Dude,
I'm super.
When do we get there? I'm just curious.
Oh, we're about to go there now, man.
I'm getting real nervous.
I mean, as soon as we so you know, I brought a little Vermentino to try to taste. Shout out to Vado Vines. This is really and it's from Sardinia. Vermentino from Sardinia is actually better than when it's even on the coast of Italy, just because you want to talk about that saline and the salt. I
was going to say, and the terroir, right? Because it's limestone.
Yeah, limestone.
Limestone.
Probably volcanic.
Volcanic, yeah, sure.
And it's just surrounded by that the ocean, surrounded by so that the breeze, the binaural. I don't want to be a wine, but that means there's winds that run through, cool the grapes down. Anyway, this is freaking delicious. Type
I'm a
of
big
wine.
fan. Thank you.
I love Vermentino in the summer, but also like if you know coming up on the holidays, great with your charcuterie, great for the Feast of Seven Fishes, blah blah blah.
Because I feel like this could cut through fat.
Exactly, you know, it has enough acid. Yeah, exactly.
Enough acid to cut through some of your shellfish or your fishes, your thicker, fattier fishes.
Totally. And then also, you know, we have mutual friends in Bobby and Vic Rollo.
Hey, boys.
And when we talked, you said you prefer Old World, and I send a lot of wine, but it's a lot of it's a lot of stuff from California, Washington State, Oregon.
Yeah. Which is nice too, to add to your collection.
Oh yeah, no.
The thing is, if you like wine, it doesn't matter where it's from.
Exactly,
like
right.
you might have your preferences, the things you drink. You know, you love to drink more. Because me, it's really revolves around food. There are some wines that I can only just drink and not eat with food because they blow the food out.
Oh yeah, you have like some of those. Anyway, I don't want to. But some of those bigger wines and like they don't go in anything except a big fat cheeseburger. It's like for me, I'm like, okay, this is the Coca-Cola of like when I was a kid to my cheeseburger.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I said, you know, listen, Vic, Bobby, I do lives, but I said, Bobby, I said, yo, Bob, I got Casey coming on, and he knows you, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he knows my pal. I was like, I need a juicy Montepulciano d'Abruzzo because I love my MDP, but I like a little bit riper. So this one, he tastes me great. So, but if you're ready, I'm gonna pour you some of this, man.
Yeah. And
you can tell me what you think. This is OG as fuck. Seriously, 12.5% alcohol. Everything was 12.5% alcohol.
1974.
There's a little tasty taste. Tell me what you think there. All right, man. So listen.
It's murky waters.
Yeah.
There. Murky waters.
I like to start at the beginning, man. So, before I even get there, like this is so Casey he's been on. You know, we'll get into this later, but he's been on Man vs. Food, which was on Food Network. Now it's on Food TV, I believe, right?
So it started off, Man vs. Food, under the umbrella of Discovery was Travel Channel.
I'm going to pause you just there for a second because that's a big unpack. Bottom line is I'm walking down the street. I see this guy on TV. I've been seeing this guy on TV. I'm walking down the street in my hometown of Red Bank.
Yeah.
And so this is my move. You'll pretty like, I was like, I couldn't remember your name at first, but if I remember someone's name, like, so I was like,
oftentimes like Man vs. Food.
Right.
I know my name.
I was like, I was like, hey, what's going on, man? I pointed him, and he was like, and when you do that, he's like, fuck, am I supposed to know this guy? Who is this guy? So he had a little like, he's like, I'm like, you don't know me. My name's MJ.
No, I knew I didn't know you.
Yeah, but like it wasn't like when you say Man vs. Food, you know, I would think it's like, oh my God, okay.
When you look in someone's eyes and you look at them, it's like, oh, I know you know, and then we're about to have a conversation about the thing that we know.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Because it often happens. It's like they'll see me and then I'll make eye contact because and honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of the job is that not the fact of being recognized, is that there's a connection made.
No,
which is a beautiful thing. It's like it's human connection. Yeah. It's like if you can connect with human beings, it's powerful. And then it's like because they like what you do, or maybe you bring a smile to their face. That's what it really comes down to.
Totally,
is like making someone laugh, smile, especially a kid, or someone's having a rough day. Because I can't tell you how many times that someone stopped me in an airport or anywhere, and like, they get me out of my head by saying, hey. I'm like, I'm thinking about all my stresses. And like, you say hi to me because you've seen the show or whatever. I was in the Red Bank. I'll tell you a story. I know we're still recording.
Dude, we're good. This is what we do.
It's a beautiful thing. I love it.
Wine and just talk.
I was at the Red Bank 7-Eleven, and I'm getting into a car with my buddy, and some dude across the street where Chipotle is, he's like, yo, kitty litter. And I did this kitty litter commercial. And you remember me from this kitty litter commercial. I'm like I don't speak a word in the kitty litter commercial, but, you know, I'm so recognizable in this commercial. And Fred Elms, if you know who Fred Elms is, he was a cinematographer for Blue Velvet.
Okay, wow.
So he like the guy who's doing commercials. So long with the short, some guy recognized me across the street as a guy in the kitty litter commercial. So, you know, whether it be Man versus Food or wait, I'm looking at your face. What do you think?
No, it's spot on. This wine is solid.
48 years old.
No, and I'll tell you, for me, I'm impressed at how much fucking fruit it has. I think this is gonna be fine. I mean, at some point it's gonna.
Sure, it's like dry fruit, and then there's a little jam on the bottom.
Exactly right. So on the
bottom
nose,
jam.
exactly, it's like that dried fruit, figgy Newton thing on. But then like across the mid palate, I'm like, oh shit, black cherry, sweet cherry fruit, leather.
A lot of leather.
Mushroomy, but you would expect that.
Definitely some umami going on.
So this is gonna be a fun bottle. But yeah, so I remember it's been a crazy summer for me because I bumped into you. I was out in Sonoma, and
love that town.
Yeah, I was in Healdsburg. I love Healdsburg. Amazing.
I have friends that live in that area that are from here. Yeah.
Oh, this from here?
Yeah.
Well, I know. I mean, Guy lives up there, and
sure.
he was filming.
Oh yeah.
And so like. Votaggio walks in the hotel. I'm walking in, right? And I'm like, who the fuck? I was like, I know, and this is funny. You like, you think you know people. You see one team. I'm like, I know this guy. And I was like, is that Kid Rock? Couldn't figure out. I was like, and then I was, and literally I was like, Michael, and he's like, hey, what's up? I was like, what's up, man? So like him, and then I saw Manit the next day.
Isn't that how we met?
Yeah, that's how we met. That's my move. I'm like, hey, what's up? And they're like, hey.
Oh, you have a smile on your face. You're like, what's up, man? I'm like, hey, what's up?
So
man?
That's like my move. It's like, hey, what's going on? So I'm glad you're here, man. That's my.
Me too, and I appreciate you asking me to be here because I would rather have someone ask me to do something than be like, oh, I wish I had asked them to do something. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have this thing. This is what you do. And
yeah.
It's like to be. I love this world, and I worked in this world for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't dabble in it as much as I do, other than personally drinking wine and tasting wine.
Right.
But it's I love talking. Rapping wine. You know?
This is gonna be great because I can't even freaking believe. I mean, just so much to unpack here. So. Let's start at the beginning.
We were doing it at the beginning again.
Yeah, where you from?
I was born in Red Bank, so we're in Red Bank.
Born at Riverview?
I was born at Riverview.
I was born at Miles Medical. Do you have that?
Oh yes, I did.
Because we're getting some tech. Yeah. Look, this dude is like a prepared guest, bro.
Just want to make sure we got what we need. Because I definitely had some SETI mint in that.
Yeah.
Like it was a breath mint I just chewed on after my last sip.
Well, it's like when I started in the wine business, they were like, the crunchy stuff is free.
Yeah.
Don't
tell your
we don't charge
that.
extra for that.
That's an internal joke.
Yeah,
you don't want to share that with people. So wait, let me ask you this. How'd you get in the business? Just a quick on you.
Me on the business?
Yeah.
I had a friend I used to hang out with. His family owns the oldest wine store in America. It's on the Upper West Side, Acker Wines. And he was taking over the business. I just finished up grad school at Rutgers down in Camden. Didn't want to do that shit.
Sure.
And he was like, yo, man, come work with me.
Let's do some wine.
And you'll drink the finest wines in the world on a nightly basis. And
the finest wines.
Yeah. And
of course.
It was kind of sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just kind of opens up your universe.
Yeah.
Right?
It changed my.
To me, like every bottle has a story. It's like storytelling. It's like, and if you care about it, so does every bourbon bottle. So does every, every.
Oh, there's your baby. There's your baby.
Here's my son.
Yes.
All right, you're gonna be on TV for a little while.
I know.
To me, it's about storytelling, and like as a person in the industry, my let me say this, like, so working as, let's say I worked predominantly, when I left the kitchen, I worked as a waiter and then a bartender. So I was in front of people and I was talking to people. And so as an actor at the same time, it was like, I was just trying to, upsell folks and talk to people about things. And then I started to really care about product.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, I really like this wine. And I want you to try this wine, not because it has a dollar sign.
Right.
Because people were like, oh, what should I drink? What should I eat?
What's the best?
What do you like? What should I get? It's like, let me taste you on this stuff. And so, oftentimes a lot of places that I worked at, management was like, why are you bringing bottles over the table? It was because I'm going to sell them a case right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, let me bring over wine to pour. And so it was really about making friends with someone first. And And I've just followed that through my career. It's helped my acting career. It's helped my personal life. And it's helped my, when I was selling wine as a wine salesperson or working in a restaurant, it was just like, just give everything you got, and like share the story, be prepared. Like, that's why I brought this thing is like,
well, it's showing,
I don't know who I'm going to share a 1974 bottle of wine that who would appreciate, who I know would appreciate as much as I would.
Like I said, you met me on the street. You didn't know me from a can of paint, but like inside the wine world, it's become.
You're the happiest fucking can of paint I saw on the street ever.
Well, thank you. I was with my beautiful wife, and
it was amazing.
Our dog Truffles, and
love it.
And it was just, it was just one of those days where, like, it's like, oh, look where I live. Look who my neighbors are.
So I was born in Red Bank.
Okay.
I grew up in Little Silver. We lived there till the early 90s, and family made their way to Red Bank.
Did you go to RBR?
So I went to Point Road.
Okay.
I went to Marketplace, and then went to Red Bank Regional. Go Bucks. Go Bucks. Buccaneer. Through and through.
What year did you graduate?
1994.
Okay, so was Dr. Warner the superintendent?
He sure was.
His son is my best friend,
Stop
like my
it.
brother Nicky Warner.
I
know
chill.
Dr. Warner.
I get
is
chills.
so good. Such a good man, Dr. Warner.
All heart and very special human being.
Yeah.
He was a big part of our lives, my 4 years there. And the cool thing about when I was there for my 4 years, all our older siblings, my closest friends, all their siblings were 4 years apart too.
Oh, wow.
So like there was this like legacy of
that was the
8
same.
years.
That was the same with me and my sister. She was a senior when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
So we had that like. And everybody had a brother or sister who was like a friend.
And they knew us coming in from
Yeah.
grade school, like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
This is the seniors are graduating, but then their brothers and sisters are coming in for the next round of, my last name is Webb, another round of Webb.
Yeah, the Webbs are coming.
The Webbs are coming.
Oh, so we have a whole nother connection too then, man.
That's real powerful. Yeah, Dr. Warner was a really special human. I imagine he's no longer with us.
He's still with us.
Stop it.
He's still with us. He lives down in Maryland. He is
Good for
an
him.
ordained minister. He's amazing.
Me too, but I'm sure he does it better than
Yeah,
me.
he's a little bit, Well, I mean, depends on where you're preaching.
Right. I was doing weddings on the side to make, to pay my rent.
I'm sure, man. We're gonna get into it, but but I went to Longbridge. You know what that means, man?
Sure, big legacy
The
there.
rivalry, man. They don't play the game on Thanksgiving. I looked it up. I was like, oh shit, I could walk to the game. Now I could walk to it when I lived in Longbridge, but
that's a big game. That was my last high school football game.
So you play? Holy shit! So
Oh yeah. So I'll tell you a story real quick.
Yeah.
So my last high school football game was at Red Bank against Long Branch at Long Branch, and so Danny and Billy George.
Yep.
George.
I know, of course.
So Billy George was my Markham Place gym teacher.
Billy George and I. Billy.
Similar in age.
Yeah, I think he was 2 years older than me.
Okay, because you're 68.
Tommy was his younger brother was a year younger than me, and Danny was same age as my sister. He was a quarterback when I was in high school.
So Billy was my grade school gym teacher, and he he picked me up over his head and threw me on a giant mat in grade school. I was a big kid.
That sounds like
I could handle that.
Yeah, but that's like.
But in high
Long
school,
Branch shit.
my senior year, Billy was on Long Branch side, Danny was on Red Bank side, and they were both Long Branch guys.
Yeah.
And we lost, right? We lost to Long Branch. That was a big deal. That was my last high school football game. I was able, luckily enough, I made All Shore, and I played the All Shore game that year, which was really powerful. And that was because of Martucci at Mattawan was like the vote that voted me in to make All Shore, and I was second team, and it was a big deal for me because I was a little guy, but a big little guy, and long with the short, I was on the field and we lost the game, and I'm crouched down and I have my helmet down. It was like just kind of taking it all in after our loss, and some kid from Long Branch side walks over to me, and I get emotional about this stuff, but he's like, it's okay, 73. It's okay, because it was number 73.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, 73, you played a good game. A little kid. It was like a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
It was like, it's okay, 73. You played a great game, or whatever he said.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, like that stuff just stays with you. And
Yeah.
and having brothers across the field, like, can you imagine the weeks leading up to that game, And like
Oh, yeah.
between them two
Yeah,
and then
man.
us on the field,
Yo, that-
superpower. Everyone played their goddamn heart out that
So
day,
I was in grad school then, so I was down in Camden, so I wasn't around for that shit.
Right.
But that's kind of crazy that's the kind of family they were, that like they
Totally, all of them, and that was really where I learned leave it on the field. Like I when I say that out loud to somebody, I was like, leave it on the field. Like, what do you mean? I was like, okay, maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. Like, leave it on the field, because when you walk off that field, you take off your cleats, you go on to live another day, to do another thing, and like that energy. You know, we talk about man versus food. If it wasn't for team sports, I don't think man versus food would have lasted a season with me. If it was just if I didn't have that sport mentality, because you know, it's a show, sure, but it's as real as it gets for that last hour when you're competing against food, and it's like I had to go somewhere else. You know?
Yeah, man, I can't wait to unpack that.
We're gonna unpack it.
Yeah,
okay.
we're gonna unpack that. But like, so you said Martucci got you all short. Congratulations.
Yeah,
that shit.
That was powerful, man.
Didn't make all short, but I did all right. I ran track. I was a track guy, so I was like 6th in the conference in the 800. Third in Central Jersey. One, shit like that.
I mean, any sort of like. Recognition at that time, because there's a longer story there, but like there was a legacy. Like again, like when we were 4 years apart from all our older siblings, and like we knew what we were getting into. When you made, I was a sophomore, made varsity. It's like, what does that mean? And I was a troubled kid. Like my parents got divorced and all this, whatever. I don't want to get into that, but it was like it saved my life. It really gave me direction, gave me focus. And then when I was done playing, I went to college for my first year at a high school. I played college football.
Where'd you go?
I went to a small Division III school in Pennsylvania, Wilkes University.
I've heard of it. Yep.
It was Wilkes College then.
Yep.
But that's when I decided I started acting. So I went from sports to acting. And if I didn't have all that experience, I don't think I could have made it to where I am now, thick and thin, through the business of show business or living in New York City and pursuing, acting and just trying to live there, So it really gave me, not the spinal column, but just the ability to work through stuff.
Yeah.
To like get through the next yard, the next down,
Right.
Like push yourself a little bit further than you used to, and I, at 46, I'm still I work out like, I'm 26,
Yeah. When I was 46, I could work out like 46. Now that I'm 54, I work out like I'm fucking 54.
How you doing, man? You look good though.
Thanks, man.
You got a smile on your face.
I do it. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
That's my mom.
Yeah, that's genetics.
That's genetics,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
That's just.
Same. I have hair because of my mom. I have a lot of red hair because of my mom.
That's awesome. So you played football in high school, but in your bio, you got your first job at a pizza joint.
Yeah.
What pizza joint was it? Because we're local. This is going to be like the hyper local Jersey
super hyper
show.
local Jersey episode. So I lived in Little Silver. So I lived on a street called Willow Drive, which brings you all the way to the train station from the firehouse. And so at the actual train station is a place called Danny's Pizza.
You worked at Danny's.
Pizza.
I used to go to Danny's all the
Danny.
fucking time.
Danny's Pizza wasn't only pizza and subs. It was like an experience because like a lot of young people worked there. It was I cut my teeth on those dishes in Danny's Pizza.
Yeah, I used to. I had a cousin who was older. Actually, he was 4 years older, and he always used to take me. We would come to Danny's and get like a slice and share a hoagie. This is like in the 80s,
right? Yeah, no, sure. And you got a sub and a slice too, because the subs are real good.
Yeah, subs are real good. And then Willow. I know Willow Deli.
Sure. Yeah. Willow Deli's still there.
I know.
Still there. I was there a couple days ago.
I need to go there. We used to go to Willow Deli.
It's kind of the same.
I believe it. It's kind of like there's a couple places. Willow Deli's still there. What's the place on? Is it Rumson Road and Prospect? That little red Barney place is still there. That's an old timey place. God, I can't think of the name of it right now.
Rumson Road and Prospect?
Is it Rumson? Is it River Road? Okay, so you're going down Branch.
You're in Little Silver.
You're in Little Silver. That clusterfuck light. You make the left. You and it's just past Prospect. Oh my God, I can see it. Is it Prospect Deli? It's next. It's dude. It's next to the farm. It's a red house.
Oh wait, Wait. So where's it again?
Didn't you live in Little Silver?
No, I did.
Okay. All right. So all right. If you say okay, so you go down Tower Hill, you go to Prospect.
Tower
right?
Hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's do it that way. You go Prospect. You keep going straight. You go into Little Silver proper. You got to. But if you make a left at that light, there's a deli. It's called the something spot. It's a red building. It's old.
Is it still there? When was the last time you went through a little
I
silver?
don't know, man. Today, actually.
Did he see
All right,
it?
so bump that. All right, so that's place, but you know what places that place in Locust is still there too. You know that place I'm talking about, like on the corner.
That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
I'm thinking, but there's also places in Locust, but that place in Locust. But what I love is that there's these places that have been around for 80, 60 fucking years or whatever, man.
You know, structurally the buildings are there, and people, you know, with the Red Barn, where you're talking about in Locust or Navasink, is someone else took it over, and they kind of resuscitated, brought it back to life. Yeah. And they're slinging sandwiches and soup and doing catering out of there, and it's like the structure is still there, and because it's like a.
But it's a new one. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, someone actually sold off on that, but like they're still pumping out food,
right.
Which is like what brings people together, which is amazing. It's like, oh, there's a reason to stop there. It's not just a residence, because if that store wasn't there, the rest of it is residential.
Yeah.
And that little part of that town that feeds yourself into Hartshorn Woods or goes up into Middletown to all the horse farms. It's one place you can stop, grab yourself some soup when it's cold, grab a sandwich or two, grab some drinks, and it's like it's still someone kept it alive. I actually looked at that property. I was like, this could be a really good place, and then someone else swept it up.
Yeah, but Willow Deli was the spot I would get sandwiches because we would go to have you seen this fucking documentary, Class Action Park, about Action Park? Did you ever make it to Action Park?
Yeah, we
Dude,
we
we
went
used to
there
go
a
all
lot.
the fucking time.
Yeah,
I didn't have no idea how dangerous it was.
Like no one knew, like our parents didn't know so much. Like they brought us there. I didn't drive there myself.
Oh my God, no,
I was like, my brother
18,
insisted that we go, and so my parents were like, okay, go. It would probably be my mom or my dad, or never both for whatever reason. They're all doing their own thing, but I remember how cold the water was. It was the cold because it's mountain water.
Yeah,
it's mountain. I think Mountain Creek is right there.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So it was probably the coldest place on the planet. But like the Tarzan swing, where you swing out if you don't fall to your death. You fall into frigid 48-degree weather.
And this is like, it'd be 95 degrees out, and that water's so fucking cold.
Yeah, you might die. People actually, the thing is, you didn't see the people being.
I know, I never, like, I watched this movie, I'm like, people died. People were dying all around me. I'm like, woohoo!
And the thing is, we didn't know that then, but now, you see so much of it on social media. It's like, like
you see these idiots doing stupid shit. Like, what are you doing, you stupid fuck? Right? But like, if we were doing
one of the things, what was it? The concrete, the luge.
The luge.
You had one break, and you're on concrete, and you're on basically a real shitty sled, that you would barely use during the wintertime on snow. But there's a lever that's going to stop you from crashing.
And you're careening down a hill,
you're
a mountain.
Careening, yeah. It was a mountain.
And there's rocks.
On either side.
On either side.
And you're 11.
Yeah. And I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, dude, the dude flew off and hit his head. And it was like badge of honor. That's probably from Action Park. Like, you scrape your elbow, you scrape your knee.
I definitely, if looking at my body under a microscope, there's definitely some action on my body from Action Park.
But that was always it's so funny. That was like where I'd get my sandwiches when we go to Action Park every summer.
So you get a Willow Deli sandwich and then hit the Parkway and go up north?
Put them in the.
I'm really curious about this other place you're talking about. Where is this other place?
I don't know. I have to look it up on my phone. I can't. I'm trying to think what the other place is.
You're gonna edit this, right?
No, not really. I don't really edit it. That's why I just do.
The editing is for the birds.
It is.
It takes too much time.
Come on, man. Time and money.
Time and money. It costs a lot of money.
I do not have.
Yeah.
So you said you went to Wilkes College, and
that was fun.
And it was to play football, right? I mean, you went.
The only reason I went there.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to get a bit of a stipend.
Okay.
To go there, which like made sense to both my head coach of football and my dad. It's like, go check it out. Why not? Okay. And I was kind of a fish out of water. I was like $185. My hair was pretty long. I'm 46, and my last tattoo I got when I was 18, and I have several of them. So like I was young. I thought I knew everything.
Curve, man.
What's it? Yeah. I had an older brother. I always blame my older brother. I was like, my older brother taught me how to do all these things. I just having older siblings, we just grew up fast for whatever reason. We just did, but we just had a sense about we were pretty protective of our group, and so we kept ourselves safe. But when I was there, honestly, I realized I did really well. Right? It was like, oh, I can do this. I'm good at it. But there was no spirit or life in it anymore for me, and I actually chose to leave.
Okay.
And it was just one of those things. I wrote this long letter. I had like 3 pages of a yellow a legal pad, and I wrote this letter to my father and my brother because I wanted them to be proud of me. So like I told them that I was going to quit, and they were okay with that. But it was one of the hardest things I ever do because before that point I worked so hard to get there, and I never thought about quitting, and then I was actually choosing to quit.
Yeah.
So but sometimes you have to walk away from stuff.
I had that moment.
And like to know when you're 18 years old, I was 18. I was like, this is really hard for me. It wasn't, and it was a relationship with myself. It wasn't a relationship with another person. That's a different story. That's a different set of emotions. It was a relationship with myself and my, how I felt about my father and my brother, and like I wanted them to be proud of me, not be disappointed. So that was a real turning point, and then that really put all that energy into actually pursuing acting at 18.
Now, so did you have a class on acting, or just you're watching TV like I could do that? Like what?
So three of my closest friends. One was at Brookdale, going to Brookdale, and that's what his parents told him he was going to do. You're not going anywhere. Go to Brookdale, and good for him because he wanted to go off and doing really well. Yeah. And then my two other buddies, one was getting his undergrad at University of Vermont, and he minored in acting. Okay. And then my other buddy was at a conservatory in New York City. So three of my closest friends that all played sports were pursuing acting. And I was like, maybe this is something I should consider, So I auditioned at Brookdale on some random play, and I went up on the stage, Brookdale stage, and I auditioned for this play, and I failed. I just I didn't crush it. I got crushed by it, And then at that moment, I realized I think I want to do this for the rest of my life because it was like, oh, this is something that I could overcome this. And I'd already overcome a lot of other stuff that led me to play sports, and then I could excel at. I had an example of getting through the bullshit and pushing through stuff, and I was like, oh, I can do this. Anyway, it's gonna take some work, but I can do this. So I enrolled, took the first class. It was an improv class, and then it led me to taking private classes in New York City. I think I told you the story off camera, but my one of the guys that was pursuing acting at University of Vermont, he wound up we wound up auditioning for him to get into New School Actor Studio with James Lipton.
Yes.
And he got in, so I mean, I wasn't getting I didn't have my undergrad, so I wasn't going to graduate school, but I got at the time as a young actor to audition in front of James Lipton. That meant everything, and my friend got in. So it had more to do with him getting in than me, but it was like, oh, okay, awesome. I did my part to help you. It felt good. It felt good to be that friend, and
Yeah, but to be that friend who we talked about this in the 20 questions before the pour about James Lipton was iconic, and anybody who was alive to see that show is on one level sad they're not going to get to sit down in that chair and get asked those 10 questions by
True,
him.
Because there was no one else doing that kind of thing.
No one did that thing.
To really break down. Yeah. And they weren't, the thing is they were actors for a long time, and then it became about artists.
Right.
And that was really powerful. Some people were like, oh, but it was about artists, and that was important, I think. And it was a finite amount of time, and such is life. There's only so much time we have. Whether you're going to be interviewed by that famous guy who interviews people, what it was for me was it was just an opportunity to just test your skills and win, lose, or draw. I gave it everything. I can't say I've. Hopefully I've done better since then, because I can only imagine what that looked like. My friend got in because he had good credits, and they're paying to go to get their master's program. Yeah. But I felt like we did a good scene, So yeah. I don't know.
That's super cool. So you're at Brookdale, which is our local community college. Did you ever ask yourself this question?
A lot.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't answer. You didn't ask the question
yet. But yeah. Why is it Ocean County College, Essex County College, Hudson County College, every county college, Cumberland, Middlesex?
Every county in the state?
Yeah, and then we get Brookdale. Are we that fancy here in Monmouth County? We get Brookdale Community College.
Yeah, I never actually asked myself that question.
I only usually ask because I used to work in education, so I was like, why? And I was like, well, Monmouth County.
And what is a Brookdale?
It is. It's a.
Is it a bird?
I know what a brook is, but what is a dale? A dale is like hill and dale, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe it was super fancy.
I mean, I think it has to do with. He's looking something up. I love it. It has to do with. I think it would have to do with how schmancy Monmouth County is.
Is it though?
It's Mount.
Do we know that?
You know.
A dale.
A dale.
Valley.
A valley, especially a broad one.
Because, because Brookdale is butt up against the
It's
reservoir.
there you go. Hold on. I love this. Brookdale is the name of many settlements, institutions, and businesses in English-speaking countries. So that shit is not even fucking fancy. Fuck you, Brookdale.
It's not. Wow.
Wait,
I
Urban
had a good
Dictionary
experience there.
smells awesome.
Now you're poo-pooing on my all.
No, actually, I what you said before, like my dad was like, you could go to Brookdale, but unfortunately I got a scholarship to Monmouth College.
Before it was university,
Before it was university. I'm old. Like,
Did you run track there?
I did run track there for a few years.
How'd it go?
It went good for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I had that moment of truth, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to make the Olympics.
Moment of truth is a big thing, and that
Yeah.
I would probably cherry pick that and say the same thing, because I realized, like, you know what, like I'm not gonna go pro with this thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play the NFL. I'm 5'9". I'm not 6'2" like my brother. And I just
hey, whoa. See, if you went to Long Branch, Sam Mills was 5'9". He played in the NFL. Just saying.
But what position do you play?
Played linebacker.
Oh.
Middle linebacker. Went to Montclair State, and then he was in USFL. True story. USFL.
And then he made his way to NFL.
Jim Mora was his coach. Brought him on to the fucking Saints. And played for like 15 years in the league.
When the Saints go marching. Have you been to a Saints game?
No.
I was lucky enough to do.
It's got to be sick.
It was amazing. Friends of mine got married, and I actually did the wedding ceremony because I'm an ordained minister. I used to do a lot of weddings. I did it was a gig. It paid my rent. I did a lot of weddings, 60 I think total. But I was asked. My friends asked me to do their wedding ceremony in New Orleans. It was amazing. I was there too long. I was there like 10 days. So the day after the wedding, we all went to a Saints game, and like I didn't want to show up just in like rags or whatever clothing I was wearing for that 10 days. So I went and I bought a Drew Brees jersey just to fit in, and then at the time I thought Drew was great. He was a great quarterback, and it was one of the best football experiences personally I've ever had. Only because the fans are just so into the game, and it was just there's a lot of camaraderie, and the place shook, and that's the kind of and like it's one of the only not every city has in the inner city has their arena, and it was just really special. If you like sports, if you like football, it was just a super powerful experience. And so I wore that jersey. I bought a jersey. I still have it.
Nice.
I don't wear it, but I was like, I'm going to show up pro. I don't want to show up prop. I don't want to show up, imposter. I guess I was an imposter because I wore a Drew Brees jersey and I'm a Giants fan.
That's so freaking awesome. So,
are you a Giants fan? You're a Philly fan.
No, I'm not. Hell, fucking no.
Oh, good.
No.
Jets?
I'm more of a Jets fan, to be truthful. But I love the Giants.
Why? Because the same colors as Long Branch.
Long Branch and 68. I was born in 68. Last time they won a fucking Super Bowl. It's kind of like I'm just.
So growing up, you were a Jets fan.
No, growing up, I was. I'll be honest. So this is a great question. Growing up, I started out a Dallas Cowboy fan. But then
I won't ask you why. But
yeah, don't. I mean, America's team.
Sure, it was. It was big star.
I mean, they were like, and they marketed it so well. Think about it. We're America's team.
A little kid. Yeah, you're like, of course. You're like, F the Giants.
Yeah.
F the Jets.
Giants
Philly sucks. Like,
and Philly never. I live down in Philly. It's different now-ish. But anyway.
I got to go to the Super Bowl and watch that game.
Who'd they, that was.
Patriots?
Patriots, yeah.
That was pretty. It was a last minute thing.
Yeah.
I was there in the city. We filmed 2 episodes of Minneapolis and St. Paul, and like literally the day before I was leaving, they were like, "We got you an extra ticket," and I got to watch that game. The second best experience in football.
Damn, that's pretty cool. But
being a Giants fan and watching Philly win was,
yeah, no, that's
to root on Philly. It was like,
I mean, I gotta give it to it. But I mean,
you have an agenda. I'm sorry, I'm hijacking.
No, you're not. We're talking. I love this. This is beautiful. The Giants, I tell people, in my opinion, Eli is a better big game quarterback than Peyton. Like,
where did that come from?
Because when the Giants win the Super Bowl with Eli, they would fucking win.
Yeah, but it was like watching Don Knotts, playing football. Quite honestly, they won though. It was like. But then it was almost like Benny Hill. Like, but they did win. Like, there's no joke. He came through and they did win.
He came through.
And that's what
I'm saying.
Team. It's a team sport.
Exactly. I mean, because Peyton would be fucking.
I'm glad you know who Don Knotts is. That's good.
Peyton would rip it up year after year during the season. And
Just a
fucking
powerhouse.
full
Yeah.
powerhouse. And then Eli would be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's like
yeah.
dum 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 dum,
Right.
but they won.
And then they go to the fucking Super Bowl and he's
Yeah.
like, swap, swap, swap.
Yeah.
You know, that's
The hardest part about watching those wins, only if I wish I just listened to it on the radio, because I would never have to ever seen his face, his pouty face. That was the only problem I ever had with him. It was his pouty face. He wore it, and like I can relate because I wear pretty much everything on my face. Like every expression I just wear on my face, just that. That's how my face is, and I get it. And I think why I resented his pouty face so much is because I'm very much like Eli Manning in that regard. Like I wear every expression on my face because he was so pouty about it. It's like, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Don't show me the work. Fucking tighten up, man.
He's like, don't show me the
Don't
work.
show me the work. Just tighten up and just do the job, you know? And it's like, oh, you know, it was very emotional, very dramatic, you know? But they won. They won games.
Yeah.
And they won the
games.
Super Bowl.
But to answer your question, during the 80s, because I was a track guy, so I love playing football, but I was a little guy. Like you talk about,
Little and fast, yeah.
yeah, I was little and fast, so
Yeah.
my mom wouldn't let me play football.
It's when you get hurt.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
people I never dropped a pass. Like I just could catch. So I just started liking players and teams, and I loved Air Coryell. Like when Don Coryell was a quarterback, and Dan Fouts and fucking John Jefferson and Kellen Winslow and Charlie Joyner, they were just throwing bombs. And I just loved that style of play.
It was almost like ballet because they're like, whew,
Yeah,
catch a
exactly.
ball,
Yeah,
whew.
yeah.
You know, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wow, the game is different. You
Yeah.
know, it's like,
It-
you know, it's because like a lot of things happen at the line of scrimmage, and that's exciting because that's where I was,
Yeah,
I guess.
right,
You know, it's like,
right.
holy shit, look at everything that's going on, all the impact. And then it's like, but the gazelles leaping.
Dude, they were sick. And then and like to this day, the greatest football game was that Miami San Diego playoff game. Kellen Winslow.
What year is that?
Fuck, that's like 80. I gotta go 83. I have to.
Okay.
Dude,
I was 6.
I know.
I thought
Dude,
we had cable.
You need to go watch. Listen, Kellen Winslow, caught over for like over 100 yards, a couple times, and then he came. Who was the tight end, and then came in and blocked the fucking kick. They carried him onto the field, and he blocked the. I mean, it was the first time they did the flip. Miami Dolphins did the flip. The guy was coming down.
They used the flipper because they're Dolphins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Faster than
like some
lightning.
like some shit we would play in the streets happened.
Right, street ball happened. Yeah. I mean, and it worked. Sometimes, you know,
Yeah,
that
it did.
stuff happened in college a lot. Like, you didn't see it in NFL a lot, maybe here and there, but like the coach was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna do the flip."
Right.
The only thing that's gonna work right now is the flip.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
they're like, what? Like the flip.
Like,
They're like,
you're gonna do a button hook,
and the thing
somebody
is, they
comes by and you just
probably
toss
got
the
real
ball.
excited about that because they practiced it during practice,
Right.
and like they never did it in a game.
Right.
It's just like, we're gonna do the flip, and they're like, what the fuck's the flip? You know, linemen are like, what's the flip? Like, that thing. That thing. Okay, block. You know, big guy. The
You know
flip.
what?
So
the
funny.
flip is a good place to take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick
Oh.
break. I'll be right back
We'll be right back.
with more Casey.
Woo!
All right, we're back.
My cheeks are rosy.
Casey's like doing his thing. His cheeks are rosy. This wine is beautiful, by the way.
I mean, it's 48 years old.
It's 48 years old. It's
That's incredible.
I mean, it's like I said, it's coming more now into its secondary characteristics, but still,
Yeah.
it's
dry
got,
fruit.
Yeah, but it's nice and fleshy, good mouthfeel.
Still talking about wine, right?
Yeah, I mean, my last episode, I literally that just dropped on Monday. I was talking to a winemaker, and he actually makes Pinot and Chard. Shout out to Greg Brewer, but like you said, still about wine. Like I was like, you know what, Greg? Like this wine is like, I was like, fuck it, it's my pocket. I'm like, it's like when you're hooking up with a girl, like, oh shit, they're bigger than I thought, right? Like the bra comes over, like, oh. So this wine is.
Are we on a break right now?
No, we're not. Told you, this is how we roll. In the
Wow, you're just talking about boobies and making out with chicks.
Yeah.
I mean,
They do love this show here. But anyway, yeah, no. Talking about the wine, it is fleshy, it's voluptuous, it's sexy, and that's kind of what hooked me into wine. So let's talk about.
were you serious about a break though?
Yeah, we did. We took the break already. We're good.
Oh, okay, so I could definitely use the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, if you need to run, man, we could take another break. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. 2 minutes.
Yeah. We're good.
It's all, you know.
It's all
You
good.
don't want to do editing, right?
I can edit
I'll
it, man.
substitute in for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Christian want to come in here, man. It's all good, man.
What's up, dude?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
Sorry, man. Casey.
Christian, nice to meet you. Your dog made me the highlight of my Snapchat group.
Oh, that's dope.
His name is Iggy, by the way. Iggy.
Oh, Iggy.
Come with me, take a little walk. Come on.
Yeah, he's like that.
Like Iggy Pop. I love that dog. Cool. I grabbed me one. Oh, sorry.
No, of course, man. Come on, man.
Thank you. But how goes life?
Oh, life is fundamentally rock bottom good. Life is good. I cannot complain. You know, getting guests like a Casey Webb up in here, we're chilling.
Nice.
How you been?
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly.
Fucking great.
I'm glad to hear that. Because when you say, you know, what's so funny when people ask me, no, lie to me, like, but like I would love to hear.
No, 3 weekends ago, I got to direct for the first time in like 5 years. I made a really, me and 20 people, we made a really dope short film called Just Dessert.
Oh, congratulations, man. That's
And
what's
it was
up.
really, really cool because it was the first time I directed in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I go in and I'm nervous, but like, my thing is I always want to bring the energy, and
Yep.
I always want to bring good vibes because I've been on film sets where it sucks to work,
Yep.
and I never want that to be felt for other people.
Right.
So, I was getting messages from my crew, like a week after the shoot, my favorite, and all of them were basically the same, where it was like, I've never worked with a director like you, and you killed it. Thank you so much for that experience. I was like, wow.
I just left that over to air it out a little bit.
So I'm still riding that high.
I love
And
it.
then in the middle of that chaos, I met someone from my childhood. I met this guy Alan, who was Alan on Sesame Street.
Alan.
Oh, nice.
So I was just geeking it because I only realized it in the middle of it because I met him for like 5 seconds in a haze of chaos of picking up gear.
The guy, the actual Alan from
Yeah.
Sesame Street. That's great. Where were you?
I was at the New York Film Center building. I was walking out
cool.
picking up gear from my old school, and he's also walking out. And I'm like, "Oh my God, Alan from Sesame Street! You were my childhood, man!" And he was like, "Thank you so much." I couldn't take a picture, but he was very, very nice and very, very sweet.
Nice.
I'm still riding the high. Man.
Yeah, ride the Allen high. Riding high on Allen. Huffing Allen.
Yes.
Take a little snooze, buddy. He's
Oh,
like,
he was out like a light.
oh yeah,
outside.
he'll snore, man. He'll like make noises.
I
You
was
good, buddy?
hearing it
We'll go
just
outside
all
soon,
day.
buddy. We'll go outside. You go take a little break.
Are you ready, my man?
I'm ready. All right. Flexing out. Yeah. This is 54. So
Yes, this is 54. Shit.
how you feel?
I'm good. This is good. I'm great.
I love that it still has legs.
Yeah. All right.
Murky waters, but it's still.
Yeah, but that's to be expected. Okay, we're really back now. All right, man. So we were just riffing on college football, the Giants.
Yeah, we went back to glory days. We
Yeah.
definitely glory dated.
Yeah. So when did you decide to move to New York City?
I was at Brookdale, and I was going through their acting program, and I did this forensics program, which was it was a club. So forensics was a speech competition. So we traveled around the country and we competed. So we went to Vancouver, we went to Portugal. I was like, whoa, for acting, I get to do this stuff. So you know, I was doing that stuff, and then there was a guy in Red Bank called the John Ide at the Actors Training Institute, which is above Buenos Aires.
Okay.
It was Fins and Feathers at the time. It was no one realizes that Buenos Aires was a pet store.
Because Fins and Feathers is now.
They moved.
They're tiny, though.
Tiny little baby shop.
Yeah.
But this was
Okay.
right on the corner of
Gotcha.
Broad Street
Yep.
and Monmouth. Above it was this little acting studio where this guy was from New York, and he taught you, you know, his idea of acting, which was a mixture of all the, you know, the philosophies of acting. So I studied there, and then it was like, it's time to go. So it's time to go to the city. So I was commuting to the city to take classes.
Yeah.
There's a place called HB Studios or Herbert Berghoff Studios taking these summer classes and just like on technique. So I had like where my friends definitely had a very focused, curriculum with acting. I had like a mishmash of stuff. I was doing sketch comedy. I was doing improv. I was doing stand-up. I was doing acting techniques. So it was kind of like my own portfolio of, because that's what I could afford.
Yeah.
It's really what it was. Like,
Yep.
my parents were like, there's no money for you to act. Go act, know? And so I was like, okay. And so I decided I moved into the city in the late 90s. And so at the time, a really close friend of mine was going to New School Actor Studio, but some of those teachers taught outside the school.
Sure.
So Barbara Portier, who was of the Actor Studio, went to the Actor Studio in the 60s, was like the seasoned older black woman who just like, she called all your bullshit, It was like, there's no question of like I felt I was getting the Actor Studio experience just through her, right? And, on a Tuesday at 3:00 in the afternoon for 4 hours, and it was like, and it was worth every dollar because she didn't hold back. And it's like, that's kind of what you needed. You kind of needed like a disciplinarian, and I think she was at the time drinking a little scotch and milk at the same time,
Good for her.
Yes. Coat the belly a little bit. She was super powerful, and that was for me. That was like probably outside of technique and the other classes that I was taking and pursuing it. She put life into the work, like own that shit. Yeah. She's like, I don't believe you. Do it again. Like, I don't believe you. Like, just like almost like you're getting slapped, like Mommy Dearest, like no wire hangers, like. But she was doing it with her words and her face, and it was like she meant it. She's like, I want it for you, And it was like, it was really powerful. And I don't really talk about this stuff, which is interesting that you bring it up because it has served me my whole life. I was always best coach. Like on my own, I was adrift, just a imaginative kid, just wandering the world. I call it ADHD. I was definitely diagnosed as a kid. Parents were like, no drugs. Never did the drugs for that thing. But it was like the teachers that taught you, and she was one of them that really gave you all of it. And in that that period of time, or the period of time for that class, and it was like, it was everything. And then she also taught you to go audition, go work, like fuck this class, like yeah, do this class, great, I need to pay my rent too, but like go work, like go figure it out. And so that was something that was like, oh, like I didn't have to go spend this much money on conservatory or go to get my master's in something. I was like, I was mastering it this way, So there's many roads is the point. It's like, and I don't know. It was honest and real at the time, and it served me then, and it still serves me now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. We were talking earlier in the pregame, the pre-show about books, and I was telling you how I like McConaughey's book, and he talked about how he was at UT Film School, and he didn't go to class. He told the dean, he's like, "Listen, man, you listen. I get like this theory, but like, all right. But he was like, but like, I'm competing against people in New York and LA who are working. Like, people don't give a shit like what theory you know. Like, they want to see a resume. So like, it's great that she told you to go out there and audition. How did you support yourself when you were when you were a struggling auteur?
Thespian?
Yes.
When I was thespianing?
Yes.
I worked in restaurants. I before I moved to New York City, I was working a lot of the back of the house, and then I moved my way to the front of the house. The back of the house would be the kitchen, from dishwashing to line cook to everything in between. And then we realized like there's more money out front. There's more people out front, and I was a little too chatty for the kitchen, I think, after a while. So it was like, get out and go earn your money and use that mouthpiece for something. So it was basically waiting tables and bartending for a long time. And it paid the bills, and it served me to live in New York City. I was there 98 to 2001. 9/11 happened. I was like, I'm out. I left. I came back here to Jersey. A friend of mine opened a restaurant, or he took over a restaurant that he was a chef at. So we ran this place for a few years together.
What place was that?
It's still there. It's on West Park Avenue in Cobblestone Village. It's called Piccolo Italia. A very dear friend of mine. I went to high school with. Nice. We played football together. He went to CIA, and I learned just like the guy, I mean, to this day, he's butchering everything. Everything comes in fresh, and he, it goes, everything he touches goes out to the plate.
I need to know this. I grew up here, and then I had to leave. And so, like, I don't.
Wait, were you forced out? What happened?
Yeah. There was tiki torches. No, I'm just joking. No.
You wanted to go.
Yeah, no, I had
for your own person.
I had to go. I had to go. But so, like, now that I'm back, and
having to go was good.
Yeah, and I'm in food and wine, and I'm actually reestablished. Like, I'm more known outside of my, but like, it's good to know these places. Like,
sure.
Like, I didn't know like there's somebody who's butchering their own freaking meat. Like, I mean,
oh yeah,
that's so dope.
Yeah, from snout to tail, fish.
From the Rudy to the Tootie.
From the Rudy to the Tootie. And he's just I don't know anyone that works as hard as he does, and it's his own place, and he's doing everything. He's there every day. There's no one stepping in for him. So we worked together very closely for 3 years, and like I was taking the train to audition for stuff on my days off, just because it was like there's still this thread of a thing, and
what kept you going though? Like, cause like this shit, like we mentioned this earlier, but this shit is hard.
Yeah.
You talked about sports, but like, okay, so I mean, you like to get on the fucking train to go audition on your days off. Like, what was driving you?
I guess it was just a sense of adventure for me. It was just like, because it's like anything is possible. You just got to show up, and it was all about showing up for me. Because for sports, you got to show up. For my friend's restaurant, it's just me and him, and he asked me to, drunkenly at the Celtic Cottage in Long Branch, he was like, I bought my restaurant with my dad, and I want you to come help me. And I just come back from New York City and had all this New York City experience.
Sure.
And it was my friend that I love and honor, and we played football, next to each other, and it was like, yes, there was never a no, and for me, it was just showing up for him. And showing up. Then it really came down to showing up for myself. It's like, there's something still here for you that you want to do. Like it's unresolved. Like you went, and like, this tragic thing happened to all of us, and it changed everyone's life. And for me, I needed to leave the city. I was done being in the city. I needed to be back to nature and to come back home. To get a sense of what that is. Honestly, it was just like, it was one audition, then it was another one. It was like, then the spark came back, because I tried every job. I really tried outside the restaurant industry. It was like, my brother jokingly said, and it was like one of the first plays I did. And it was, he's like, you're not an actor. Brad Pitt's an actor. And I was like, you son of a bitch, he's like, I've been playing every down of football because of you, and like, you're going to say that. And so, I think adversity plays a very important role in a lot of like people's success. It's like when people tell you no, it's like, F you. No, it's yes. Like, and, I've just become, for me, it was about saying yes and then choosing to say no, or, yes again later. Like, just take a step. Like, go in the direction in which you're being offered something, an opportunity, and it might not work for you, but like, at least try. And it was like, again, it came back to sports. It's like the next down, the next foot. It's like 4th and goal. Da 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 da. And the drill sergeant in my head. It started with like an old casting director called me, and I was running this restaurant. He's like, I have there's really this great play. It's this local writer, and you should meet her. And then I wound up getting it. I got the play, and then I had to take off of work. And so I'm doing a play in New York City off Broadway.
Okay.
And then it just led to like, that same casting director introduced me to a manager, and then it was like, an audition for a commercial, and then it just started. And that's happened 3 or 4 times in my life where I left it so many times where it just kept calling me back, and eventually I wound up moving back to New York City, and post Sandy, another experience.
Jesus.
Yeah, so like there's these traumatic experiences that happen to everybody.
Yep.
Just kind of like when the dust settled, I made decisions to change my life. And
I love that, man.
It was just like, it just made sense. It's like my dad and I were living in this house in Red Bank, and it was like I was kind of house poor. I wasn't getting married. All my friends were getting married. Like I was like, I'm still like, I'm like taking the train. I'm taking the train from Red Bank to audition and come back the same day.
Yep.
Or go crash on a couch and spend a couple days with my friends because I got a few days off from the restaurant. And hell or high water, really. It was just like, I don't know. I always thought there was more and different. I wasn't necessarily settled having a 9-to-5 job. Yeah. Personally.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was about like the unknown that was more exciting than the known. truthfully.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you might fucking win the lottery, or you can depend on this regular paycheck. I was like, yeah, fuck the regular paycheck, man. Like I know I'll work, I'll have a job.
New pair of shoes.
No, it's really roll the dice, and like I've rolled the dice more. So me bringing this bottle of 1974 wine could have been vinegar, it could have been salad dressing, but no, it's not. It turns out to be something good. So that's kind of how I've lived my life.
I love it, and it's thank you again.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm glad it wasn't skunked.
It's like it's ballsy to bring an old bottle of wine.
Yeah,
that you got.
I threw my ballsy bottle right on the table.
From exactly that you got from a friend who bought it and stayed. It's so
totally
random. Spun the wheel.
And it was $30. I spent $30 on that. That was $30.
Jesus.
I know.
That's.
I wonder what the market value.
I was like, that literally probably cost $2 when it was released.
Right.
I wonder. I don't know, but like 74 is a great. 74 was like a lot of the wines that were in the Judgment of Paris were from 74. 74 is a great vintage in Napa Valley
because they were tasting the wines of that year in France, right? And comparing them to French wines,
right?
Yeah.
So like those were 74s because most wines are going to spend 18 months in barrel, blah blah blah. So, and Sterling, I mean, now is like a supermarket brand, but like it was like one of like
it wasn't
back then. Yeah. And I'm really like Calistoga, Napa Valley. You could probably buy acres for like $1,000, not no more.
Yeah. I might keep the bottle though.
You should keep the bottle. No, you want to keep this bottle. This
put a candle in it.
Yeah, like we're in college. This is totally.
Put it on my coffee table.
Wow, this one didn't even make it to the Judge of Paris because I'm reading. It says bottling took place in February '77. So they.
Oh, so we were early.
They were after the Judgment of Paris because that was in '76.
But this is '74, so this was.
Yeah, so they held this back. They kept this in oak for a minute. Good for them. It's a deeply scented wine, strong and varietal character with appealing oak background.
I got a little of the oak. That's where this dried cherry thing is going.
But you're getting the fruit and the acid for sure. And wait, I love this. This wine with its level of extract, 12.5% alcohol. They said level of extract.
Yeah, how subtle is that?
Yeah, and its balance between fruit and acid has ahead of it many years of positive development of bottle. And wow, 46 years old or some shit?
48.
48.
Oh, I mean, it's 74, right?
Well, 74, yeah. Yeah, 48. Wow. So you're taking the train. You're doing the gig.
Taking the train.
Get this off Broadway.
And no one knows no one knows nothing about anything. It was just like going to one audition, going to maybe two in that same day. And it was just like, I realized over time that I needed to get back. And it was, it was this pre-Sandy, we sold the house 15 years to the day that the house was bought.
Wow.
And I moved to the city, and it was like the third time I lived in New York City from the time I was my 21 to the time I was 38. And this was for real. It was like, I'm going to bartend and I'm gonna audition. That's all I'm gonna do. That's what I'm choosing to do.
You work at any cool bars when you are?
I did. So I have friends of mine. It's funny when I first went to New York, you have to have New York experience to work at a New York City restaurant.
Yep.
So if you don't have New York experience, you can't get a job.
Yeah.
So how do you get a job? So you have to someone has to give you an opportunity.
Gotta get put on.
So when I first moved there, I wound up getting a job at City Crab, which was I don't know if you know where that was.
No.
It was right in Union Square, and it was like a Maryland style crab house, and it was like just you got everything. It was just big steaming piles of crab and everything that comes with a crab house that would be in New York City that would resemble a place in Maryland. And somehow I got that job, and then there I wound up getting hired. A friend of mine worked at Be Our Guest. So Steve Hansen had 15 restaurants. I worked at a place called Ruby Foods, and then there was Park Avalon, Isabella's, Coconut Grill, Ocean Grill, like these big restaurants. And it was all about hospitality. And there was like a real infrastructure about service, about food knowledge, about wine knowledge. I went to wine college within that program.
Got it.
And like, you know, eventually they want to give you a key, so you're a manager. So it's like, hey, if you're not happy with your job, you can leave because there's 95 people that want your job. Right. So it's like you know, it's like white buttoned up, you know, shirt with tie. All the restaurants were the same, the way you dressed, whether you were in this Pan Asian restaurant in Times Square where I worked at, or you were at the high end seafood place. So like you learned a lot in a short period of time. So over the course of like 3 or 4 years, you know, they really emphasize hospitality, service, food knowledge, and wine knowledge. So you know everything about it. You know everything on the menu. You know every wine. You know where it comes from. It was a really cool story, and like this is one of the biggest takeaways, other than the friendships that I've had. And there's a lot of stories. One of them was the sushi chef I worked at the Uptown one, and I was like, they used to have like MTV used to have their parties there. It was this crazy place, a lot of celebrities. The one in Times Square was a lot of the theater actors used to come in.
Sure.
And one day I'm like feeding this woman like a Ruby Foo, which is a Cosmopolitan. She's like, oh, I'm waiting for my daughter, and she's in the VIP section. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever you need, you know. I do have 2 stories, but one was about sushi, one is about feeding Ruby Foos or Cosmopolitans to this woman. And she's like, oh, my daughter's coming. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And like 3 of these go by, and I was like, oh, she, you know, can get some food. She's like, no, I'm gonna wait for my daughter. And she's like, oh, Casey, what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm an actor. I'm like 22. Like, I didn't have any other profession other than a waiter and actor. You know, it was like, so clearly I'm a waiter, and you're asking me what I really want to do is I'm an actor. And she's like, oh, my daughter's here. And then like I turn around, it's Jennifer Love Hewitt. So it's like, oh, can I get you something to drink? Your mom's had several martinis. Would you like something? She's like, I'll have a Diet Coke. And then like that was it, right? That's the kind of New York restaurant world that I lived in. It was just like celebrities all over the place. And but the sushi chef, which is more importantly, the sushi chef that
more important than Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Are you sure this is 12% alcohol?
I'm not so sure anymore. I think after time it's
become
like,
burgundy.
It's a little boozy.
It's a little boozy, you know. So the sushi chef, Chef Omai, who basically taught us all about sushi. And so years would go by, and like a decade would go by, and I'm watching Iron Chef, and Morimoto is competing, whether it be Bobby Flay or who he's competing against. And I see his sous chef is Chef Omai. Chef Omai, who taught us what sushi was, how to make it, what it meant, all this stuff. And I was so proud. I had never been more proud to see anybody else on TV. I was like, amazing. It was so great. And then he was at Morimoto, and I think they closed that location, which is in Chelsea Market, because I was auditioning when I wound up going back to New York City and living there. There was a lot of places we would audition right on that 13th Street. There's a bunch of studios there next to Chelsea Market because Food Network was upstairs. But I would see him getting coffee, and I went up to him and I was like, do you remember me? He's like, I don't know. I was like, but I worked it. And then he's like,
you're like, come on, look at me.
But I was like thinner, and my head was shaved back then. But it was like I felt so good about. I was like, oh, he's still doing it, and he was literally, you know, he was the guy on TV, and you don't bring just the slouch on TV. You bring the guy that's gonna, you know, who's gonna work, you know. And so
because those shows, I don't know, like, you know, but I've worked in restaurants. I would have to think, and then with cameras, like, it's about the sous chef. It's about your crew.
It's about the work. Yeah,
it's about like, okay,
they focus on the work.
Yeah, the show. It's like, okay, so it's Bobby, but it's like. But people know it's people you trust.
They're looking at Bobby's face, but they're looking at the sous chef's hands.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like it's all about the work, and like he was just he was impeccable, so much so that Morimoto had him as his sous chef. So it was like that said a lot.
Which I had Drew Niperant on. So the precision of Morimoto, it's like the sous chef is actually better than the chef. So like I can't do this, so I need someone who's as good or better than me to execute this.
Right. Because like you can't, you know, it's like the organ grinder. You could crank the organ, but you can't be, you know, the little monkey who's dancing.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like it's like one or the other. It's like you gotta, you know, so it's smart to have the best person that represents you. Yeah. And I felt that watching on TV. I was like, that's amazing. And like then I ran into him later on. I'm like that to me is celebrity. Like sure, you know, being in the business that I'm in, it's like you see a lot of people, and it's like I'm a total fanboy. Like, oh yeah, I love. You know, I love your work. I love what you do. But like to see an actual, to see Chef Omai doing his thing it was really, I was really proud.
That's
I was proud.
great.
I was proud.
I love
proud.
that. I love that. So speaking of that, how'd you land Man versus Food?
The backstory. So I was back living in New York City and bartending and auditioning, and there was a point in my life where I was like, man, I hate bartending and I love acting. It's like there was this duality going on, and there was like a bell went off one day, and I was just like, wait, why am I hating what I'm doing? Half of what I'm doing, because it just really it was like an epiphany. I was like a little bit older, and I had been seasoned. I lived in New York City before. I cut my teeth in New York City as a young person, and I was like, just like a light went off. I was like, oh wait, you're the same person, man. Like, why don't you just love both? It was really that simple. And so my attitude changed, and then so bartending was really fun for me, and then I was getting more auditions, and then I started booking things because my attitude changed, and it was just
crazy how that shit happened.
Totally crazy, because it was I was poo-pooing my job and loving auditioning, but you bring that into the room.
But that's a problem. Wherever you are, there you are, right? So
I think that's the best example, or just that I know of, what that means. There you are. It's no matter where you are, it's there you are. So for me to be positive when I'm working and me positive when I'm pursuing the thing that I love so much, that I think I love so much, there's no difference. So it just bled into my work, which was auditioning, because that was my job. I had two jobs. I was auditioning and I was bartending, and I was taking every job. I
love that though. Your job, when you're trying to break into the business, is auditioning.
Yeah, that's my job.
I love that.
Oh yeah, because it wasn't, because it was a numbers game. And I realized that it took time. It takes time. All this stuff takes time, and that's okay. Just give it the time. Just enjoy your life in the middle. Just enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, if you're thinking end game, it's you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it because you're not living your fullest in the moment. And it sounds cliche, but it's true. It's you're not really enjoying the process of getting there. Then what are you really enjoying, and why are you pursuing it? So for me, a light went off. I was like, oh. And then I was I just started booking more. I was just oh, because my attitude changed. And I did go through a breakup. So I was just fresh off the field. I was just it was just about me and what I was doing, and I was able to focus. And it was really funny. I had a beard for a long time, and I booked a bunch of stuff, but with a beard, and I was starting to get some grays in there. I was I got this cop. I auditioned to be a cop for this comedy show. This comedy, I think it was Brooklyn 999 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so I auditioned for it, and the casting director I'd never auditioned for before, but she knew other casting directors that I knew. We had a good rapport, and I didn't get that job, but I did shave the beard and I had a mustache. I didn't get that job, but I got every job after that. Every job after that I got because I just shaved the beard. My attitude changed. I shaved the beard. And it
I'm shaving.
It was, it was just. I just changed my look. I mean, honestly,
Christian was
we have the same thing going on. I have the white here. Honestly, you're going to look 30 years younger if you shave the goatee.
I know this. It's so.
It's just
funny.
a reality.
No, I always used to look so young, and then
you still look young.
Cherishing this, but
no, but you look. I mean,
thank you.
But I see some handsome sons of bitches with gray hair. I'm like,
me
oh
too.
man,
I'm I want to be that guy.
I want to be that guy. Totally great. I'm not there yet.
I have the Keanu beard. That's the problem too. Only Keanu can have this chopped up shit and get away.
You can too. I mean, you have it. You're wearing it.
Yeah, I do rock it, but I do think that because I do the podcast, it's how I say it, but I don't think people if I shaved, I can look good. I clean up well. Let's put it that way.
Nobody cares.
I know. They don't.
I love you, man. Nobody cares.
Thanks.
If you want to look younger, get rid of the white. If you like it, run with it, man. It's all good. Because, there's something about being distinguished and just being who you are and being comfortable in your own skin, no matter white hair or not. I still have the mustache, right? Yeah. I'm trimming white hairs out of my mustache. But I still have a whole head of red hair, thank God.
Yeah, you do. And hair looks great. You have great hair.
Thank you.
You really do.
I still have to answer your question, though, by the way.
No, but I was going to go back to the question. But I love what you were saying about how you changed your attitude. You loved everything about your life, and you started booking everything and booking and booking.
It was a real switch. It was then I was so the breakup happened or whatever, and then it was wow, it was around the same time. I can't say it was the same day, but I wound up taking every shift of a friend. that needed off. So I cat sat, I dog sat, I plant sat, I apartment sat. I took the shifts of the same people when they traveled. I Airbnb my place. Airbnb became a thing. I Airbnb my place illegally. I had friend of mine that was this segues into the question that you had. Who was acquiring moonshine from the Carolinas, and I started bringing that up, and I was sharing that with my bartending friends, and that became a thing, and I was like, I was just hustling. I was hustling to work. I was hustling to find work, and I was just living my life. I was quite literally living out of a backpack. I had a go bag, and like when I rented my place, I was out. I was on Tinder and like dating sites. I was like, sometimes I'm sleeping at somebody else's house. It happened, it was just a reality. I was doing it safely, but I was just like, I was invested in me.
Wow.
And it just worked, because I made a decision to really not let things get in the way of like joy and maybe making money, or because like it really came down to, it wasn't about money. It was about the fun. It was about focus on the work. This is something I tell myself. I have actually a plaque in my apartment. It's focus on the work, because it's really about the work. You focus on the work. Don't worry about the money. The money will be there. Money is not sustainable. The work is sustainable because you're known for your work. You're not known for your money. Like, great. Some people are known they're billionaires. Great. But like, if the work doesn't support the money, who are you? Right? So it's really about the work. So I've never thought about money. Sure. When I didn't have it and I had to pay my rent, I thought about the money. Then I stopped thinking about it, and I just focused on doing and not thinking. And I just went and did. And that's very much a reactionary thing with sports, and that was my motivation. So, yeah, your question, you asked me how to get man versus food.
Hold on, before you answer that.
Oh,
I know, like you were talking, I was just like one of my favorite Emerson quotes: "Do the thing and have the power." You were just doing the thing.
There's something that comes from just the activation of putting one foot in front of the other, focus on the work. And like what comes from that is that power of the reaction of it. Like whether it could be a sedentary, solitary thing, but like working out, or taking a walk in the woods, like do the action, get the power, right? It's just like whatever that is. It could be like walking my dog. This dude saved me. Like this, like having a pet. Like I don't even call him a pet. He's like, I call him my son.
Well, I know when you love animals, they're like we have the.
I mean, he's like I don't know who saved who, but that's a whole other thing. But should I go into the question about how I got the show?
Oh, yeah, I'm loving this riff we're on because the quote, another quote, because it was there's a Norman Vincent Peale quote, and he talks about action is the great restorer of faith. So like when you don't know what to do, just do what's in front of you.
Take action.
Take action.
Move the body.
Yeah, I have a bias for action. So.
You have a bias for action. So,
I have a bias for action.
So when you move the body, it's like I really feel like our body.
And I think it's because I'm an athlete, but like when I'm getting down, I'm like, all right, do you need to go throw some kicks and punches? Because I fool around martial arts.
Yeah. No, I think it's important because when. I really feel like our bodies are the fountain of youth. Like our bodies are made up of how much water, right? So water we need to take in, like that's a big thing.
Your body's made of water. My body's made up of wine.
Right now my body's made up of wine from 1974. But like I think it's an internal reflection is the fountain of youth. It's like you look inward, the power is within you. The answers are there. Like it's very philosophical.
We could go down this whole personal development road. Yes, of course we could. No, because I lived in California for 10 years and I worked with
I lived in California, so I know philosophical bullshit.
So the personal development people. But literally, like what you're saying, like you are what you eat, you are what you ingest, and we are energy, and you can shift your energy anytime.
Sure.
And
you are what you say. It's like you don't want to sentence yourself with your sentences, put yourself in jail. It's like on the subtle level, things are happening that we don't know about, right? Like, and so like paying attention to all those things, becoming quiet is important. Quieting the mind, coming to stillness, taking pauses between actions, breath work is, all that stuff is important. And like, the thing is, if the first reaction you have is when I say breath work, you're like, it's bullshit. Maybe you need to focus on breath work.
Yeah, and
if your first response is bullshit, like maybe stop thinking about what your grandfather would say.
I'm born, Casey. Right. What are you talking about?
I take breaths every day.
Listen.
Like okay, like if your first reaction to poo things is maybe take a better look at that.
Yeah, you need
stuff.
to look at it and
go deeper. Take a deeper.
To your point, like what makes a good Navy SEAL or sniper is they breathe through it. They don't, like most people hold their breath.
Yeah. And that's when you start dying.
That's when you go in, exactly. You hold your breath, you're dying. You go into lockup. You don't know what to do. You cut off anyway.
Yeah, you cut off the oxygen to your brain, then like you're not breathing through. So I mean, it's yogic. It's everything. It's in every practice of of physical movement, whatever it be, submerging yourself in cold water, yoga, meditation, martial arts, being a sniper, being a Navy SEAL. It's about your breath. And that's part back to the fountain of youth. Your body's the fountain of youth. Water and breath. You need to breathe air, and you need to drink. You need to have water. So our lungs need to move, and our body needs to be flooded with water. So that's two things that we need. And there's more, but like.
Listen,
we're
you're not
so
going,
external.
You're not going very far without breathing and drinking water.
Right. Right. Drinking wine, and it's like we need the opposite. So this is the yin to the yang, right? So we need water. If we're going to enjoy wine, we need the water, right? So, it's.
So the question was, this is what I love.
Yeah.
So you're clicking, you're going, you're like Patti LaBelle. You got a new attitude.
Love Patti.
You gotta love her.
Love Patti.
So man versus food though. Like how did you was there an audition? Was it like because I used to have that next Food Network star, and people got shows out of that shit. But like, what was like? How did you get Man versus Food?
Funny story. A very dear friend of mine who worked in casting, and I worked as a PA. I was like the oldest PA in the history of Food Network, and I was probably the fastest because like I had already worked in the restaurant business, and I was an actor, and I got hired. I was like, I need another gig to supplement the restaurant stuff. Maybe I want to go into production because I want to learn more about the background because I was a photography major, So I went up working on a bunch of Food Network shows, and one of them was Network Food Star. And so it was Bobby, Giada, and Alton Brown, and I worked as a PA on this, like, it was like the third or fifth season, and it was in Brooklyn, and it was like with all those chefs that were competing against each other within the three hosts.
Yep.
And the director's like, he's like, Case, he's like, there's like this giant chair that looked like the chair from Game of Thrones. It was like this giant, it didn't have, I think it was like chef knives or whatever it was. Like, Case, can you stand in for Bobby because you have the same skin complexion? I was like, all right. So I sit in for Bobby Flay.
Now that you mention it, you kind of do.
You kind of look like Bobby Flay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like Bobby Filet Mignon. I'm like just a big piece of meat.
No, you're
right?
you're like Bobby.
I'm like Bobby Porterhouse.
Exactly. So you're like Bobby Porterhouse.
I'm like Bobby Tomahawk.
Yeah, Bobby Tomahawk. Because, dude,
Bobby's
how are these fucking guys so thin? They supposedly eat food and drink wine. They're all fucking.
I mean, they're now on TV. So
I know, man.
They're in the gym at 4:00 in the morning. They eat a banana and a protein shake, and then they're having a little bit of wine later on.
Yeah.
They're machines. You got to be a machine.
You do.
So
anyway,
which is cool. So like, I got to be a PA on that. So I got to see the inner workings in the background of like, oh, this is amazing. I've worked in restaurants. I'm an actor, and I'm like, I love production. So like, the best thing you could do if you ever want to be in any industry is be in an industry that moves as fast as the restaurant industry. The film industry.
Word up.
It's just be part of something that's greater than you. And I learned so much just by witnessing. I was like, if you're not leaning, if you're leaning, you're not cleaning. So that was the first message in restaurants. And the same thing with PA. Like I was like, yo, don't just fucking stand there, man. Like pretend like you're doing something if there's nothing to do, especially in production.
Yeah.
And even in restaurants, you don't leave the kitchen without a plate, plate going out, and you don't come into the kitchen without an empty plate. So it's like you're always moving parts.
I love that.
And so,
love that philosophy.
So with the show, So a casting director quite literally called me on the phone, and I'd booked a couple commercials. Some of them were non-union. They were, I guess at the time they were non-union. And she's like, Casey, I have this really good opportunity for you. It's an LA local hire. And what that means, non-union, it's $100 a day. And like, I would have to crash on a friend's couch. I'd have to get myself there, but you're getting $100. But the opportunity is like bigger than you could imagine. But I believe I loved her so much, and she's still very much of a mentor for me. Brett Goldstein, she's incredible. She's, like I said, she's a mentor. She's a coach. She's a casting director in New York City for 30 years. She called me up. She's like, there's this really great opportunity for you. I think you're right for the part. This is the scenario. It's $100 a day. You're going to have to get yourself there, and you're going to have to find a place to stay, but they'll pick you up wherever you are, and they'll bring you to set. So what the show was, it was going to be the first YouTube show behind. It was YouTube Red behind the paywall. So,
I remember. Yeah, that. Okay.
So Ian and Anthony were two YouTube stars. There was a show that was called Part Timers.
That's where I know you from.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's okay, Christian.
No, so Christian.
This is my pocket. I love that. So our fucking engineer.
I'm like looking at you this entire
It's like-
time, and I'm like, you do look fucking familiar.
What I love is he's been on Food Network, but you know him from this YouTube Red part-time. And we were talking about like when people recognize you, like it's crazy, right?
For whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm glad you've seen it, Christian, because it was like for YouTube, it was the biggest thing that they were doing. So we were like, I was literally crashing on my buddy's yoga mat in his place in LA, and there's a whole other story about other things there. Which is great.
You're gonna come back on. We're local. We need like
it's like after dark,
episode after episode.
It was just a great opportunity, and I was like, okay. And so what it was like, here's a breakdown. We need you to submit some tapes. So we did like 3 different scenes, 3 different scenarios, and I submitted those tapes, and we filmed them with my friends, and I wound up getting cast in it. So I went out to LA. We shot like 2 seasons of this thing, and the director. Laura Murphy did a ton of stuff with MTV. She did Girl Code. She was in it, and so the showrunner, the executive producer, the director, some of the writers were all women, and I was like, "This is awesome! I love this because it's just like it's a very male-dominated business oftentimes, and I was like, this is so powerful. Just
Yeah.
And one of the other, another one of the writers, he was one of the he developed Workaholics. So there's a lot of energy going into this show, and like great writers, a lot of energy, and it's coming from YouTube. It's being financed by YouTube, and it's like they bought this place. And the show is called Part Timers, and they bought this space that used to be like a wedding catering facility in Sacramento, and the show mirrored Ian worked at Chuck E. Cheese, and so it was called Part Timers, but it wasn't the show was called Part Timers, but the place was called
It was like a rip on Chuck E. Cheese.
it was a total rip on Chuck E. Cheese.
It was like Spazzy's Pizza or some shit like that.
No, it was
Because they're goofballs on YouTube. They're known for doing sketch comedy.
Yeah,
Totally, yeah.
So it's an offshoot of that. It's not Chuck E. Cheese.
No, it's not Chuck E. Cheese, but it was Porky Pines.
Okay.
So it was the Porky
Porky.
Pine was the mascot.
Okay.
And so like my character was Dinger. It used to be a Chinese restaurant before. I lived there, and then like I was the guy who ran the concessions, and I had all these. I had I was like a fanboy, and so I had like a fanzine, and like so it was this wacky world, and we did 2 seasons of it, which was really incredible, and like we were flooded through YouTube. We hit the YouTube studios. It was like the premiere thing that they were doing, but YouTube Red really didn't hit.
No.
Like it never hit.
Nope.
And I think there was some internal stuff with those 2 guys, and they wound up going their own direction. But that experience, that director, her and I became very friendly. She introduced me to an agent in New York City who was at Don Buchwald. He is at Don Buchwald. He's like the head of comedy at Don Buchwald. And I pitched a bunch of shows to him. I pitched like 3 scripted shows and one unscripted show, which would be Reality Lifestyle. It was a food show. It was like a food host show.
Okay.
And so he's like, I like the food show. He's like, why don't you go?
I like the food show, kid.
Go film a proof of concept about this food show. And so while I'm filming with a friend of mine, we're like running around New York City eating hot dogs or whatever we're doing.
Grace Papaya.
We went to Grace Papaya. He's like, hey, he calls me. He's like, hey, I got this audition for this food show. Do you have any interest? I'm like, yeah, I'm out filming this show that I told you about. So I'm like, yeah, totally. I'm totally into it. So that audition, so my relationship with the director led me to this agent who got me the audition for a show.
Okay.
And that show was called Big Eats. And if the first audition was Skype at the time. And so I was living in Brooklyn, and I was renting my apartment via Airbnb. So I had an Italian couple that's coming in literally 45 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, like we're talking through. It was a very nice conversation. Like I physically had to put the computer back into the closet when I left before the Italian couple showed up. And so we get through the interview and she's like, oh, do you have the food segment ready for the interview? Like something to talk about with food. Have like a plate of food to talk about or whatever. Have something that I made. And I was like, I don't really have anything. Like, I don't remember that being part of the audition or this conversation. But I was like, oh, give me a second. But my place was immaculate. Like I was literally like renting my place out through Airbnb. So there's nothing in the apartment. There was only the Arm & Hammer in the fridge, right? And so I was like, give me a second. So I get up from the table, very, very much like how we are here. I go to the fridge, and the only thing I have in the fridge is a bottle of moonshine. I take that bottle of moonshine, I sit down in front of the table, in front of the computer, and I talk about moonshine for 20 minutes. I got an audition for the actual show after that. So that went over so well that I got the physical audition. So that physical audition was in a restaurant where I had to do basically the 3 parts of the show. It's the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's if you watch the show, there's a kitchen beat, there's a dining room interaction, and then there's me trying to crush something.
Yep.
So that was at a place called Clinton Hall, and there's several of them in the city.
Yeah.
And the chef Daryl, who's there, who's incredible chef, and he's done really great things. It's really fun food. So I did that audition, and then that led to me getting the show. But I heard later on from the executive producer at Food Network, it was actually me talking about moonshine for 20 minutes who was actually got me the show. It wasn't just food. It was like, oh, I could pontificate about how moonshine's made and how I acquired it, and
They saw the passion probably.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, man, like thanks, Christian, because I was gonna say, like, what happens is like you do all this shit in life, right? Like you don't know, like we've like a through line has been like how sports has trained you to persevere, but every time we do something in life, we just have a mental Rolodex and it gets filed away. We don't know what's gonna like, and you're able to pull all that shit out at the right time.
That's all I had was moonshine.
But I mean, like, you know how many people would have just caved? Would have just fucking gave up.
I was like, give me a second.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
give me a second. It was like dun, 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 dun. He's running around the apartment, looking for something. Dun, dun. Fuck it, moonshine.
And like there was really moonshine because I was taking it with me to go share with my friends, and the Arm & Hammer, and I was just like, hey, this is what I got. So anyway, a friend of mine makes it in North Carolina, and I just went into the story and segue or full circle back to being in Minnesota and going to the Super Bowl. We were at the Mall of America, and it was a press junket like the whole week because we filmed Minneapolis episode and a St. Paul episode, and I wasn't going to the Super Bowl, but the Mall of America was filled with every athlete you ever in football you've ever met, right? Sure. And any celebrity that's going to be like J-Lo performed at the opening night the ceremony the night before the actual the Super Bowl, and. Someone at some press junket, somebody asked like, so how'd you get the show? And then like the executive producer from Food Network was like, I got this one. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, so Casey, we did a pre-interview and he talked about moonshine for 20 minutes. And I was like, that's what internally, that's what he got the show. We passed it around to everybody and they were like, that's why he got the show. Because I was able to just talk about anything for 20 minutes, I think. But it was like passionately about moonshine because it was really good. It was like
that's what you said. They saw your passion, right? Like,
it was like really good moonshine.
Yeah,
and it made you goofy like I still have some. It's like makes you goofy like a kid. So it's really good. Next time, we'll do moonshine. We'll change the barrels to a still.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we'll just put up like Red Bank Regional High School. Or we'll put up like I don't know, the gas and sip, and we'll say like.
Right.
Oh man, Casey, listen, man, I got more notes, but I gotta respect your time. I gotta respect Christian's time because it's the day before Thanksgiving. Everyone wants to go drink with other people. Thank you for coming in. Definitely need to. You're local. Let's do this shit again.
I love it, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you stopping me on the street and be like, hey.
So I got 2 more things.
You do?
Before I let you go.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, so we play a little game on this podcast called FMK, Fuck, Marry, Kill. I'm going to give you 3 grapes. Yeah, I know. 3 grapes.
Okay.
You're going to fuck one, you get to marry one, but then one you have to kill off. You can't have anymore.
Wait
right?
a second.
Yeah.
Like I could romance one, right?
Okay, if you want to put RMK, that's fine. If you're more romance
So
guy,
F, marry, kill.
yeah.
Or F, marry, kill.
Romance, marry, kill.
Okay. I host a kids show, basically.
I know. But I don't think the kids will listen. Their parents might. Anyway. Okay, so romance,
Anybody
marry.
can listen to a podcast.
I know that's true. Romance, marry, kill.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have this paper?
Yeah, sure. Cabernet Sauvignon.
Cab. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, Sangiovese.
Sanj.
Chardonnay.
Shard. California or French?
No, just okay. So I see. Okay, white Burgundy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, since you want correct.
WB.
Yeah,
Love the WB.
Listen, it's gonna be hard. The WWWWB. It'll be hard to get rid of white Burgundy. There's something about a French wine.
Is that it?
There's something about a French wine. Yeah, three grapes.
marry,
Yeah.
kill. Oh,
Yeah,
the three.
yeah. Romance, marry, kill. Which grape are you romancing? Which grape are you marrying? Which grape are you killing off?
I'm gonna romance me some white Burgundy.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm gonna
Tough. I need no one to get rid
but the thing is, like, so romance is different than F.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that changes everything.
Okay.
So I'm gonna F me some cab.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
I'm gonna F the cab.
Yep.
Just because it's fun.
Yep.
I'm gonna marry me
White bird.
some white Burgundy, but after a long weekend, I'm gonna kill me some. I do love.
I know.
I do love the Italian stuff.
I know.
And
I know.
But I would change this if you ask me again.
Yeah.
But for right now, I'm gonna.
You'll get asked again.
Yeah.
Asked again. With different grapes.
I'm gonna F me some cab.
Yep.
Because it's big and bold.
Yep.
I'm gonna marry me some Chard.
Yep.
Because it's just so good. And then I'm gonna, after a long weekend, I'm gonna kill me some.
There you go. Sounds good. What are you most excited for about the future right now?
I love that, as scary as it is, the unknown, because there's so many. I have a bunch of irons in the fire of things we've been throwing against the wall for a while, and the uncertainty is very unsettling personally. But it's as exciting as when I didn't know what was to come, or because there's ebbs and flows to the business and to our lives, right? So not to sound so philosophical, but it's really not knowing and just going to work, like really focus on your work and focus on the work and finding results in different areas that you're finding, that I have found results in, because I'm not necessarily finding results in professionally successfully professionally.
Yeah.
Because this is like we all go through the stone ages or the dark ages of something, like winter's coming, right?
Yep.
So I've been in a winter for a while.
Okay.
And that's where you regroup. That's where you rebuild. That's where you gain strength. That's where you
That's
get
like
stronger.
Rocky when he's Ivan Drago running through the sand.
1,000%.
Just like,
It's a visual for sure, and that's very real. And that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm excited about what's to come, but I'm also very much immersed in the focus and being present and just getting stronger and getting better at what I do, and and like actually living my life, like spending time with people that I haven't seen in a long time, and because I have some downtime, and being on your podcast and saying yes to things, and like, because when I'm super busy, I don't have the opportunity to say yes to things, and then when I'm not, it's like, oh, there's so much more. So I'd sooner break bread and share conversation and a bottle of wine. I might have said no to this at one point because I was busy. Yeah. And like, I hate that, but I'm glad that we're able to do it. So I'm really pleased.
Well, you're invited over to my house for dinner. My wife's a great cook. I'm a great cook.
Amazing. Thank you.
We'll hook it up.
I don't have another bottle of this. Is that okay?
I like you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for
this is
hey, man, taking a risk. You took a risk on the street.
I do.
Hey, what's up?
That's what I've been doing with this whole thing. Hey, Casey, tell everybody how they can find you on social, how they can be a part of what you're doing, follow your journey.
Yeah, I exist on social media at I Am Husky for Life on Instagram, Casey Webb on Facebook, and then Casey's Call on Twitter. I think TikTok is Casey Webb, and or you could find me on Cooking Channel on Tuesdays from 6 to 9:30 on Man vs. Food. I definitely did a new show called Life and Beth, which is Amy Schumer.
I got to get Amy on here because when I watched that, it was so wine focused. She actually wine rep, so that show's kind of dope.
Kind of cool, right?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah,
it was very cool, and she and it was like real wine rep shit. People don't want to talk to you. Like it was like legit,
right? Yeah,
it was like what it's really like. Not that Psalm TV like people love wine. People no,
they got to the nitty-gritty.
Get the fuck out my restaurant, man. We're
much.
busy, yeah.
And there's a second season, so they
good.
launched a second season.
Okay, good.
So and my character Grub is coming back, which is really exciting.
I love it.
I was at the launch for Inside Amy Schumer that came back on Paramount TV.
Yep.
And I ran into the director, and he's like, "I don't know if anyone told you, but I'm going to tell you, Life and Beth is coming back, and your character Grub is coming back as the train conductor. Who it was actually based on someone that Amy that grew up with. This guy Grub. So
I love it.
Yeah, which is exciting. So thank you, MJ. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate drinking wine with you and just talking life stuff, and I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much. For all the listeners out there, make sure you check out the show notes. That's where you'll find the links to Casey's socials, some information on the wines we drank, and other cool shit we discussed in the show. Until the next time, cheers to the Mavericks, the philosophers, the deep thinkers, and the wine drinkers. It's your boy MJ. Peace.
Hey.